Congressman Ted Lieu joins me now. He represents California's 36th congressional district. He's a Democrat serving his 6th term. Congressman Lieu is also a veteran. He served on active duty and then in the reserves for the Air Force. He retired in 2021 with the rank of colonel. Congressman, welcome back.
Thank you, Julie.
Boy, those Epstein victims on the steps of the Capitol was quite a dramatic moment today.
It was, and I commend the victims for their courage and stepping forward publicly and speaking out. And one reason they did so is they see the great injustice of the Trump administration not releasing the Epstein files. They also see the Trump administration bending over backwards to be nice to convicted felon and sex trafficker Ghislaine Maxwell, moving her to a minimum security prison. Why would they do that?
Right. I thought it was very compelling when they talked about how they felt sort of re-victimized by the treatment that she had received from the administration.
Absolutely. And you only would do this if you're trying to influence her testimony in some way. I think it's cowardly and despicable, and she should go back to the prison from where she came from. I also note that Attorney General Pam Bondi in February of this year literally bragged on national television to American people and said that the Epstein files are on her desk. Why has she not released them? She needs to release those files, and that's why I've signed a discharge petition put forward by Congressmembers Ro Khanna and Thomas Massie that would force the disclosure of the Epstein files.
And what's your impression of the Oversight Committee effort led by Chairman Comer?
I think it's terrific that they have issued a subpoena, and we want the Department of Justice to comply with the subpoena. I think the 30-some thousand pages that they released was really a scam because they were duplicative of the prior pages that were released. So there's really nothing new in that release. I think only a couple percent might be new, and they didn't really shed light on anything. What needs to happen is the Department of Justice needs to release the Epstein client list and all the Epstein files.
I wonder if we'll ever see them.
I think we will, because the subpoena has a force of law, and Attorney General Pam Bondi said that she has the client list, and she's been talking about releasing Epstein files before she ever was in this position, and so I just urge them to follow their own words that they said.
So how close is that discharge petition to having enough signatures?
I don't have the latest update, but I know that pretty much all the Democratic members are going to sign it, as well as a number of Republicans, and it's going to be bipartisan, and we'll see if it reaches the majority, and I think it will reach a majority of the members of Congress.
On another subject, meanwhile, Congressman, it appears Republicans are having some trouble selling that tax law.
So the big, ugly bill that the Republicans passed earlier this year is deeply unpopular among the American people. It basically is the largest cut to health care in U.S. history. It's going to throw off millions of people from Medicaid. It's going to jack up ACA premiums for the Affordable Care Act, and it's going to cause a $500 billion cut to Medicare. So now you see the White House trying to rebrand the bill, and you cannot rebrand something that awful. And you may ask, well, why would they do that? Well, because they wanted to benefit billionaires and millionaires, and there's this brand new yacht tax credit that if you want to buy a yacht, this is a year to do it. But that's basically what the bill does.
Well, how does the bill affect your district?
It will cause a large number of people in my district to lose health care, and also a significant number to have their Affordable Care Act premiums rise. So I was just briefed today by Covered California, who basically administers the Affordable Care Act in California, and they said that premiums are set to double under what happened with the big, ugly bill.
Wow. That's rough. I mean, I know you represent Los Angeles and a lot of areas around there and down the coast, but it's not all rich people there. You've got some low-income people in your district.
Absolutely. And also, you have a lot of independent contractors. You have people that also have their own businesses, and you have folks that aren't employed by a large company. They can't get the kind of employee health care coverage that many other people can get, and they depend on the Affordable Care Act.
And I'd love to hear your thoughts as a veteran on the use of National Guard in the cities and when you see those troops standing around, now that you're back and can see it yourself.
So when President Trump deployed about 2,000 National Guard troops to Los Angeles. I was on a call with the head of the California National Guard, and he said of their 2,000 or so troops, about 1,700 were on standby, meaning they literally did nothing. Mm-hmm. And then the couple hundred that were not on standby basically just stood around and did literally nothing. And then in D.C., you see some of these troops picking up trash. You see them just standing around. And that's because the job of fighting crime is what local law enforcement does. It is not what the U.S. military is trained to do. The U.S. military is trained to defend our country against foreign enemies. It's not trained to go ahead and be deployed against Americans.
It's really to their credit that they're trying to do something positive on, what has to be an assignment they're not excited about. But it does seem to be a misuse of the National Guard.
It's not only a misuse, it's illegal. So for months, I've been saying, along with other Democratic members, that the U.S. military cannot be used in this way because it violates a law known as the Posse Comitatus Act. A federal judge recently issued a ruling saying, in fact, that these deployments are illegal, and I hope that is upheld on appeal. And look, at the end of the day, it's really a decision about what you want our country to look like. I'm sure that North Korea has very low crime because they're an authoritarian state with a militarized society. And if that's what you want in America, sure, you're going to get not a lot of crime. You're always going to have authoritarian society and no freedom. And I think Americans want freedom. And if you want to lower crime, you should invest in local law enforcement. And that's why I wanted to highlight that Republicans actually cut grants to local law enforcement. They're known as COPS grants, and they cut them this year.
Indeed. And of course, I think we're all very curious to see how that ruling that you alluded to out of the California federal court will affect the president's plans to head into Chicago and maybe Baltimore after that with the National Guard.
Well, I also note that the president is just making up these reasons because if he truly wanted to fight crime, turns out that red states actually have more crime, and red states, in fact, have higher murder rates than blue states. And you don't see the president deploying the military to red states. So he's clearly doing this for political reasons, and I hope that the courts see it for what it is and continue to uphold the rulings showing that his actions are illegal.
Congressman Ted Lieu from California, a Democrat. Thank you so much for joining me.
Thank you.
Great to talk.